Soviets and Soviets, how y'all doing? This is Con.
Drangru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, we're bringing you some more WARNO today. Today on Vertigo, East meets West yet again. Ryan, who do we have?
Right on the left-hand side in the blue, we have a Rabid Squirrel X playing the 2nd Panzer Grenadier Division. And on the right-hand side in the red, we have Tofuk playing as the VDV Division.
Right, so the 35th, the 2nd Peagrams. You were saying this before we really got started here. Not a whole lot to be too impressed by. That's a really kind of infantry-focused divisions, but is there anything notable to kind of talk about with these guys?
Mainly probably be an infantry slugfest. I mean, both sides, especially VDV, have access to paratrooper troops and a good amount of aircraft. So probably won't be seeing too much tank slugging. No, both sides does have access to decent tanks, T-64s and a couple Leopard 2s for the 2nd Panzer Grenadier side. But right off the bat, we're seeing a nice little rush here from Tofuk into the town, getting that Mi-24A into a very advantageous position.
Yes, but looking at the fact over here, first of all, we have a Gina kind of coming on in and taking out that Mi-24. But I guess I'm kind of curious, if Paris were an option, why the heck did he start so far back east of London?
Yeah, it's a good question. We managed to at least somewhat get to the front line here, and the Spetsnaz are going to be clearing through, and of course Spetsnaz, just like a Wargamer Dragon counterpart, they got the RPO napalm launcher. They're pretty much kings of town fights.
They're big kings of town fights, but they don't really fire up. So right now it's a bit of a problem for them if that Gina rocket comes right back in. And it's got a lot more air to ground love to be sending their way. And actually looking at this right now, looking south, we have a couple of Rabid Squirrel Lukes kind of moving on in. And might be able to suppress. No, not so much. That RPG's way too good, apparently.
Up, and we got Leopard 185 also providing some long-range fire support here. We got a bit of a dogfight. MiG-29 coming in to blow up out, I guess, generation run to fighter plane. I'm not entirely sure. It's outdated. The MiG-29 is definitely much better in that sort of engagement, and well, gets the kill.
And one thing actually I do like, it's a very, very early munitions truck over here to support those, surface-to-air missiles.
Yeah.
Not for nothing, but I feel like the surface-to-air missiles blow their load almost instantly. So it feels a lot better to have that quick reload, that quick kind of, air cover, which is what you desperately need, I feel like.
Yeah, you pretty much have to have them babysitted by supply trucks, otherwise they're going to run out of ammunition in the most inopportune moment here. But so far it seems like Tofuk is doing a very good job clearing through his town. Rabid Squirrel does have a bunch of pattern tanks on standby, but he's racing for, he's going for the military police spam. Try to clear out the town.
And even being a little more precise with that too, he actually had a couple more patents, but you can see one of them actually brewed up quite a bit right there. And yeah, anti-tank weapons are much more of a threat here. Yeah. We're seeing the first cap coming on in as MiG-29 makes another gun run. In fact, that's another air-to-air missiles. What the heck is he be shooting at?
I think he's just trying to cover it to stop those Ginas from blowing up his Spetsnaz. Because, yeah, the Spetsnaz pretty much cleared out the town. It's mainly just the fire support, which is doing actual damage. Yeah, and we've seen the Field Jaegers rush on in. They may not be the best infantry in the road, but at least they have submachine guns, so they're going to fare a little bit better in the CQC firefight, and the Spetsnaz are actually starting to run low on ammo here.
Speak for yourself. Maybe we have their rocket launchers, but their sidearms? Oh no, please. They have AK-74s, basically tons and tons of ammunition.
Indeed, and we're seeing Pioneers being brought in as well to really help secure this town. And Rabid Squirrel finally got the M48 into a decent position for fire support, so he is starting to retake some important ground here.
That said, he's got some air cover lingering over his own lines, but that Gina's got to get out of there.
Yeah.
So, very early logistics. So we're talking about the whole idea behind meta in this, and getting a +3 is all well and good, but it kind of feels like you want to be spending the first 8 to 10 minutes really on just troops overall, that you can definitely make up lost time by securing, the territory that you've already taken later on. Or maybe I'm incorrect on that. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, it's usually a good idea early on. It depends on the momentum of the match, to try to avoid getting into the CV trade. I mean, the +3 is good for now, but it's also pretty easy to counteract through Foxtrot being captured. And as we're seeing, just that little bit of extra frontline forces here for Rabid Squirrel is tipping the favour. As just that few minutes of not getting any actual reinforcements into his town, Tofuk is getting pushed out of it. So he's going to have to spend quite a bit of points trying to retake the rather important Alpha area. It's a bit of pain to retake that town once you get kicked out.
So, a couple of lepers, by the way, being brought in. We have one to the south is going to be engaged by a BMP, and doesn't get taken out just yet, but I meant... Oh, no, okay. Oof. The 73 millimeter, I somehow didn't think that should be able to penetrate, but it does.
It's not so much the 73 mil, it's more so that the Leopard ones just don't really have any armor. The German whole armor philosophy at that time was, yeah, just don't get hit, guys.
Yeah, you're right, and I wasn't even thinking about that. Actually, we can see that the Patton's considerably more armor, but at the same time, considerably less alive.
Look at T-64B. You know,
Oh, yeah.
He's not stuck in the air of the Pioneers are stuck in the air of him.
See that someone's trying to play War Thunder over here. Oof. Oof.
48's got up tiered a bit.
You have to think about it. The Patton, technically, I think was modern when Korea was happening, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, these ones have been upgunned a little bit, 105s and some better equipment. It's still terribly out of date for 1989, and T-64 can dunk in them quite easily. But at close range, they can actually do some damage.
It's a silly thing, but actually I really kind of appreciate the fact that ground units are much more willing and able to actually engage air targets at this point. Like, I'm not suspecting that, companies would be able to fire and kill something in World War II, but it always seems a little bit silly that even infantry units were clearly being attacked by something. Let's just spray fire into the air. At least we can do that.
Very good. I believe that was an Igla strike here. Gonna be saving T-64B, and we've got a little counterattack from Tofuk, moving in all of his infantry, but there's a big blob of Pioneer flames, and they're gonna flame on.
Yes, they are. And the Thessaloniki Pomachetskis over here, don't get me wrong, these guys actually could be pretty good. One of the things we've seen about the VDV is they are very, very heavy in terms of their kind of veterancy. But flames are still flames. Like, that is still a terrifying firepower to come up against.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how elite or trained you are, a flamethrower is going to burn you regardless. It's a good equalizer in that regard.
Oh, absolutely. One thing I will say, though, is that the MP2s don't give them a lot of firepower other than that, so once you have the hand flame patrol kind of gone, they really sacrifice a lot of their firepower.
Yeah. And the Pioneer Flames do get some very good value, managing to stomp out first ray for Descent Nidki, but we got the second ray being brought in with a little bit of fire support with the autocannon BMD2s. But Rabid Squirrel is getting a pretty good defense here. He's got a Lapid 25 and a Lapid 3 being brought on in. So if he can position that Lapid 3 in a good, well, blocking position to engage in the open ground, he's to pretty easily be able to secure this town.
I just want to watch this Gino over here who's probably going to get blown out of the sky by another Thessaloniki Igla. He's going to get rockets away, don't get me wrong, which is good, but he also completely whiffs the target, and Igla... I thought he would have had a take immediately, but no. Yeah. And the Leopards now able to engage the BMD2s. There we go.
Yeah, in this point up north, it's just coming down to the tank fight, and well, having, one card at least of Leopard 3s does give you quite a big firepower advantage.
Gina getting heavily engaged by some ground fire. If I'm him, I'm backing away. Close to get out.
We're seeing some more Spetsnaz being brought in. Spetsnaz grew, some more Desert keys, but it feels like you really need some more anti-tank firepower up here. Maybe an anti-tank helicopter. I believe it does have some Su-25s in his deck. He needs to start knocking out his Leopards if he wants to get a good chance of getting back into that town.
Well, he's going to be able to do that. That Conqueror's over here is certainly conquering everything in that particular area. Unfortunately for him, though, it's now a +5 in the other direction. So even if that Conqueror's is killing 2, 3, 4 tanks, logistics still has to get in there.
Yeah.
And that early occasion of bringing in the logistics of this, this back over here, this was like Keishan, the A149s, a little bit too early when I think you probably could be getting a tighter hold. over the area he's got right about now. So.
We've seen Rabid, Squirrel. It's investing in some the scimitars, which are quite nice, because those are actually Belgians, German flag, a little bit of a weird axis, and we've got a tornado being brought in as well to try to keep Sky clear of any more MiG-29 action. I'm wondering how Tofuk... Actually looking up north, re-evaluating this. Not a lot of Blue 4 infantry left. The tanks are going to be a little bit out of position. The Destined Nuki Commander is going to neutralize the point. And the MiG-29 is actually just going to go in. You know, it might be a bit dangerous with 3 Eyehawks on the ground.
With the Eyehawks and actually the Tornado's in an anti-air role, so it's one of those things that for him, semi-active radar, you know, the infrared's one way or the other. MiG-29's getting lured right back in, and the Eyehawks should be engaging any second now. That's 1. That's 2? There we go.
I get jebaited.
He's jebaited, yes, but he's still not dead. Oof, that's the tornado that dies.
I think that was the Igler. It's snuck in and got the man-pad kill here. God damn. Who needs Eyehawks when you got like a man-pad?
SU-25 Sukhov coming over to the southern side. He's going to drop those RPKs. That's going to be pretty deadly. And actually, this is oh my gosh, logistics too. Oh no. Oh, he got lucky. Oh, that was so... Oh wait, no, the bombs still went off.
Really get the CV kill?
No.
No. Oof. Good dodge there from Rabid Squirrel.
Lucky dodge there from Rabid Squirrel. These are actually things you cannot lose.
And it's going to give him that nice little +2 now. So it's probably going to come down to Tofuk to try and neutralize the echo point as well. I mean, both sides haven't really invested too much here. That one BMP-1's has been absolute hard because he's pretty much been the only significant armor threat for the majority of this match down south. He's proved his deadliness from knocking out that Leopard 1.
Well, there's another Leopard being brought in right about now. Yes, actually 2 Leopards being brought on in, so apparently they hunt in pairs. Should be enough to actually engage right about there. The only issue, of course, there's still RPGs, there's this, this Fajo over here. I'm kind of nervous to call it by what I would think it sounds like. So, yeah, not feeling too hot about that. So I'm check back up to northern side. And no, this is just sniping back and forth at each other, I feel like.
Yeah, it's really just coming down to the open field vehicle play, and we're seeing the scimitars here actually getting some very good hits off onto the infantry. Is that Leopard 2? Yeah, the Leopard 2 is still alive, 4 HP, so it's going to be very hard to just get a foothold into that town when you have a decent amount of open ground you have to cover. This would probably be a pretty good time to maybe start using smoke. Get some, I believe he does have some Nonas in his deck, because he needs to get close into that town. And his infantry, especially his Spetsnaz with the RPG-29s, can actually do a bit of damage. Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt you here. We had a cluster SU-25 come back in again. He had a line on the logistics vehicle. He made a run. The Fliegerfaust, the Hawks, everything. Took him out in one blaze of glory. He almost managed to kill the logistics vehicle with his dead burning craft as it crashed into the ground. Stunned them for 10 seconds. Yeah, M577 is pretty much playing a game of Frogger against aircraft.
Yeah. Yeah, which I'm not sure I really like very much.
Oh, I wouldn't be pleased if that was happening to me. I usually try to avoid having aircraft fall on top of me.
I'd like to think that has not happened very often to you, but then again, I'm sure your commute to work can be rather deadly sometimes.
No, you have to watch out for the mooses more than anything.
True. True. Wild meese cause many issues. We're also getting a really, really big reinforcement of patent tanks on the northern side. He's got to be running a little lower on these patents. In fact, I think this
has one card of him, but he still can fall back on the Leopard tank, so he's should be pretty fine in the tank engagement. He has been trading somewhat efficiently. Even just keeping that one Leopard 2 alive is doing him a big deal. That is at T-64B, and it does have some decent firepower, but in a straight-up trade against Leopard 3, he's just going to get blapped.
Yes, actually, we're seeing a bit of a rotation right now from this Leopard. We're trying to get lines on. He's trying to get line on that logistics vehicle. That would be really lucky and really unlucky at the same time.
We've seen the BMD-2s trying to engage, but we have no anti-tank on those IFEs. They are going to get blapped.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are made for infantry suppression, they're not made for killing specifically. Those 30 mil cannons aren't worth a whole lot.
In tornado flyover runs again. Yeah, VDV does not exactly have much in terms of ground air defense, so it's not going to be too scary for him to fly over enemy lines, unless, you know, a stray Igla missile hits your cockpit. Yeah, it's usually not ideal.
I do want to make a quick call out to the bottom side. You have a Leopard tank that's shifting around, but he's very much inside. Yeah, that RPG. Yep, that was dumb. Cluster Tornado. This could be big. Going after the BMDs. Yep, there you go. Pretty solid.
Very good. Yeah, it's not... Rabid Squirrel is running a little bit low on infantry here, but it's not going to matter. He's managing to catch Tofuk's infantry out in the open and just blap him. We're seeing the northern purses getting picked off one by his Leopard 2A3, which has no mercy and no remorse.
Which I think right now, I think it's like he's rotated that Milan around. Yeah, because he's going to try to put some fire into T-64. T-64 hits first, though, and that's a bit of a hassle. Feldjägers, though, being slid on in, not the best, but not the worst. So, see how this runs out.
He just needs bodies in that town to help him secure it. Leopard 2A3 is down to only half HP, so his T-64 point blank does have a good chance. But Leopard gets first shot.
Which does round it right there.
We've seen more Spetsnaz being brought on in, so it does seem like an opportunity for Tofuk to get back into that town. The Baton tank cavalry is coming in at the nick of time. If he can just position these guys, he should be able to deal with the rest of the infantry here, and that T-64 routing back, there's not really too much to threaten him.
Well, the Leopard is gone, killed by the RPDs. And the RPGs, for that matter, as well. Feldjäger, in the meantime, not really the most terrifying, but I think we're seeing rotation. T-64 does go down.
Then down south, we're seeing actually a decent push here from Rabid Squirrel, moving that Leopard 1A1 across the field. We're getting a little bit too closer to that Concourse ATGM, and yep, he does go down. But with the Scimitar down south, going to be sniping that commando team. So yeah, 2 more Leopard 1A5s. Once again, it's just coming down to the armor game. But there's an Mi-24, and this might... No, there's Faust.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
And honestly, the Mi-24, don't get me wrong, they're pretty solid at that, but they're not amazing. Oh wait, clusters to the north. And those rock guys, I think, are going to take out that T-64 right there. I thought he was going for the logistics vehicle, but no, he blows apart that T-64. And the only thing there now is the logistics.
Yeah, and then down south, Aegina's... Yeah, he's going for the gun run on the hind, and with no anti-air, it's pretty much going to be an easy pick. He's probably going to lose one of his aircraft, but I think that's a rough trade. Especially in the opportunity. Or might actually lose both. Is he gonna go for the dogfight? No, he's going in for the rocket run and claps a T-64. and I think,
you know what? I like that call. Like,
I like that
lose
too.
The Genas. You can lose the Gina.
Yeah, it's 110 points. That's and it has like a decent rocket loadout.
Well, I guess the funny thing for me is that the Second Panzer actually has a very, very deep air deck. Well, relatively speaking.
Like it's a very solid deck, as you just enough stuff in all the tabs to pretty much keep you competitive. You may not have, you know, all the Leopard 4s and 3s that you might have in the Panzer Division deck, 5th Panzer, but you have enough tanks to keep you going, especially in the matchup against VDV where they have no scary tanks. Honestly, most of the Red 4 nations don't exactly have scary tanks. Most of them are fast cannons, apart from actual Russian tank division, the TATUs, and yeah, it's the tap out.
Yeah, that was honestly a very, very good idea. But kills and losses is actually a lot closer than I would have expected.
Yeah, I can't do math right now. Like
it's about 1700.
1700?
Yeah, about 1700.
Okay, yeah. Which is, I'd say, in WARNO logic, 2000 KD is probably going to be the standard, considering everything's like double points compared to Wargame and ST2.
Yeah, more or less. At the same time, you look at some of the infantry, for example, the security troops over here for the second P grunts, 45 points compared to like The Descent Comrati, like the Commandos on the other side, at 170. So yeah, there's some rough comparisons, but let's not say that everything is perfect maybe just yet.
And looking at the kills here, Laboratory 3 doing pretty decent. Yeah, one of the Genas, 64 and a hip to his name. And the Tornado Cluster, I believe, at the end knocked out both of those Nonas, which is a pretty good pickup.
Yeah, I think that was the thing that really kind of sealed it over here. Not to be outdone though, go to the other side to see a BMP1, and actually there's Rachmaninoff.
Oh
Apparently
wow!
He doesn't just compose music. He decomposes many enemies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main battle tanks and a whole host of light vehicles.
And T-64B doing decent as well. Yeah, it's really coming down to, the few armor support units, from Tofuk really were trading efficiently. He just did not have enough ground-based AT firepower to really compete. And of course, with EDV, you don't exactly have a whole lot of good static anti-aircraft units as well. So if you lose your air game, you're just buggered. Because as you saw, if you bring up helicopters, they can just get blapped by a cheap strafing run.
It is surprising to me that we actually didn't see that much in the way of anti-air. I mean, I was actually looking forward to seeing the ZSU, the Afghaninsky.
Yes.
And heck, I mean, the Stella's occasional, but I don't feel like we saw maybe as much air power overall. But
That's just the problem with VDV. Like, you have anti-aircraft units, but they're all cheap and crap. It's pretty much like buying just only 20 mils and SD2. Like, they can get the job done, but you're usually better off just buy the Iglas and then try to keep MiG-29s up in the air.
yeah, but again, not going to say that it was a rough match necessarily by any stretch of the imagination for Tofuk, but just a couple of things to kind of modify as he goes forward. So, hey,
Indeed.
we're Armchair Generals was working our way through our own pace here. We're getting that new meta out. Any final thoughts, sir?
No.
Well, folks, in that case, then come back Thursday for a little bit more Warno. And, until next time, I'm Connell Work.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.